tonight. City councilors hear the Brandt proposal to purchase Real District properties. A concerning report from the advocate for children and youth. And another huge jump in prices at the pumps.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. For most of the day, Regina City councilors have been listening to delegates and discussing what a potential sale of Real to Brandt may look like. With Brandt CEO Sean Semple giving his own presentation to Executive Committee. Donovan Mace has the details.
Sean Semple's vision for the future of the Real District is in front of councilors.
Today you have the opportunity to approve a partnership that represents $113.5 million in private sector investment.
Semple, the owner of the Brandt Group of companies, coming forward to Regina Exhibition Association Limited in November to purchase some buildings on the Real campus. After lengthy negotiations, city administration releasing the details of an agreement late last week for the sale of the Brandt Center, YQR Distillery, Queensbury Convention Center, and EggX buildings for $6.5 million.
This is a very tough business. Okay, this is a business that Real has never, I went back in all the annual reports that I could find, they've never made money in it. It's that tough.
I sure wish Brandt would have made that offer when I was mayor.
Supporters of the deal include some of Regina's biggest in business and even former Mayor Pat Fiacco.
There are negatives that are going to be out there, but they certainly do not outweigh the positives on this one.
But still, some residents have lingering questions.
8 days is enough to get it from public perception of start to finish. I understand 6 months have been spent going back and forth, and that's great.
And Real itself wondering what is next.
It's not our job to tell you what decision to make today, but we just want you to make an informed decision and to take the time.
Some council members hoping to slow down time to delay a possible decision.
If there were a third party review at some point that doesn't necessarily delay or substantially delay the timelines, is that something you'd be open to?
There's a proposal in front of you that we spent 6 months negotiating with the administration that you've hired to do that job.
Now, should this deal pass through Executive Committee tonight, it will be back in front of City Council next week for further scrutiny. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
A new report from the province's advocate for children and youth shows more than a dozen children under the age of 5 have died with illicit drugs in their system since 2019. CTV's Stacey Hine has more.
The advocate for children and youth says 13 children under the age of 5 had illicit drugs in their system at the time of their death from 2019 to 2025.
This was deeply troubling to learn.
In her annual report, Lisa Broda notes more than 40 instances where children died or were seriously harmed from fentanyl, methamphetamine, or cocaine.
We don't know exactly how it gets in their systems. In inhalation, it could be, like a grain of just being exposed residue. It could be breast milk.
Broda says the data does not reflect the full number of children exposed in Saskatchewan. Meanwhile, the topic was brought up in the legislature.
What does the Premier say to those who know he's not doing enough to stop the death of innocent children?
Any death or a serious injury to a child is a tragedy, and we take that extremely seriously. We're committed to improving existing systems and supports to prevent future harm.
NDP MLA Matt Love called on Premier Scott Moe to sit down with Broda before spring sitting concludes. The Social Services Minister responded saying this.
This is work that we take extremely seriously, and we will be working with the Children and Youth Advocate in the coming weeks.
Broda says one way to address the issue is by expanding services for adults who struggle with substance use.
Children live in families, and so we need to make sure that we're having our intervention and prevention services targeted to the adults who are using these toxic illicit drugs.
Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The Saskatoon Fire Department isn't expecting overdose calls to slow down anytime soon in that city. After Prairie Harm Reduction closed earlier this month from financial mismanagement, the Saskatoon Fire Department has seen an increase in overdose calls. Over a 3-week period in April, Saskatoon fire crews responded to 301 overdose-related calls. Unlike previous spikes in calls, this trend isn't related to a dangerous batch of drugs. The rise in calls is expected to continue for the foreseeable future.
considering different strategies that we can use. For an example, rotating crews, switching out paramedics during the day, things like that. So we're in constant conversations with our officers and our battalion chiefs to monitor this situation.
Chief Doug Regrin says rotating crews can help address overdose calls and still maintain service to the city. Saskatchewan government is renewing some subsidies for direct air service between the province and the United States. More than $8 million has been paid out over the past 3 years to maintain flights to Minneapolis and Denver with continued revenue guarantees required. Wayne Mantika has more.
Saskatchewan had been without direct air service to the United States for a number of years, until the provincial government offered revenue guarantees for airlines. It quickly resulted in air service between Saskatoon and Minneapolis, followed by flights from Regina to Denver and to Minneapolis. The first of several agreements has now expired and is being renewed.
What we've heard from the chamber, we've heard from residents, we've heard from the research community that the access to the U.S. and these direct flights is integral.
The province has renewed an annual $2.2 million revenue guarantee for the flight from Saskatoon to Minneapolis. It had been in place for 3 years. There is 1 year remaining on an annual $500,000 revenue guarantee for a flight from Regina to Minneapolis, and 2 years left on an annual $3.5 million guarantee for air service from Regina to Denver. Combined, just over $8 million has been paid out so far.
The hope is that in the future, these routes can stand on their own. But there's been a lot of headwinds, both in travel demand to the United States, specifically on the leisure side. Some Canadians choosing not to travel as often or even not at all to the United States, but business travel, which these flights are intended for, appears to be quite resilient.
It likely isn't the government's desire to pay out revenue guarantees indefinitely. However, given the rising cost of fuel and airline route cutbacks, the province will maintain the revenue guarantees to ensure that Saskatchewan has direct air service to the U.S. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
A spike in gas prices in parts of Saskatchewan today, jumping up to nearly $1.90 per litre at some stations in Regina. The price has been hovering just under $1.60 a litre for most of the last 2 weeks after a break in the federal fuel tax. Now, the lowest average price is around $1.69.9, with some stations now as high as $1.89.9 per litre. And it's the same story in Saskatoon. Meanwhile, construction on Weyburn's new hospital is complete. The project now moves onto the stage where the Saskatchewan Health Authority can begin preparations to open later this year. In the coming weeks and months, the SHA will be moving in equipment, furniture, and fixtures into the new 35-bed facility, but no exact opening date has been set. 3 communities in Saskatchewan are now under local states of emergency as flooding continues. Meadow Lake, Elfrose, which is east of Wynyard, and Invergordon, northeast of Waka, all declaring emergencies. Some highways in the Yorkton area are also shut down, including sections near Foam Lake and close to the Manitoba border. The Water Security Agency says a combination of spring breakup and rapid snowmelt is driving one of the worst runoff seasons in decades.
Around that Meadow Lake area, it was a 1 in 100 year event that they saw for runoff. That was the most extreme. In other areas, 1 in 25 was really common through a line through Saskatchewan. So it is higher than average.
During this melt, officials are advising people to stay off the ice and be cautious around bodies of water. In some areas like the city of Regina, not a lot of snow left there right now, but yeah, there are in parts in central northern Saskatchewan, plenty of snow that could see plenty of melting as we get closer to the weekend.
Yeah, it may not feel like that for some as we started the week. Still cooler than what we would have liked to have seen those spikes of 20-degree days that we saw after that last snowfall. But yeah, we will get back into that range sooner than you think. Today we did see a warm up. Not quite in that seasonal range for Regina, where we're usually at about 15 degrees for this time of year. Warmed up to 11 degrees late this afternoon, and our lows are still sitting below 0, which is much cooler than what our usual lows are for this time of year. Now, the good news is Doesn't look like we have any snow in the forecast. We do have a little bit of rain, and you can see on the radar satellite, saw some scattered precipitation in the form of some light rain showers in parts of central southern Saskatchewan. But as we head into tomorrow and into the weekend, we can expect mostly sunny conditions and temperatures continuing to warm up. As you can see on our current temperatures there right across the board, we're still sitting at some nice above zero temperatures. But I'll have details in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. A Regina man is speaking out after nearly being scammed out of almost $4,000 while trying to sell vintage car parts online. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more on what steps he took and how others can avoid similar situations in the future.
Before inheriting his father's 1969 Ford Mustang, John Smith says he fondly remembers the road trips he would take with his dad during the summer.
We were always busy because he was an auto body man and a painter. And that's what we did in our summers. And we traveled all over to buy these cars. We went as far as Columbus, Ohio, and brought them back.
After Smith's father passed away in 2021, he stopped using the vintage vehicle and eventually sold it.
The car meant a lot to me. I miss it, but it just wasn't the same without my dad.
Smith decided to put an ad on Kijiji to sell the leftover car parts. A potential buyer sent him a check of $3,800, which was over the asking price of $1,000. After going to police, he took the check to the bank where they advised him it was fraudulent.
Luckily, I didn't send my parts because they said he would have got away with those, and I would have been out my parts and had to pay this money back.
There's always a sense of urgency with most types of fraud.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre advises people to be cautious when buying and selling online and to take their time when exchanging information.
It's just a matter of knowing what to watch for. Fraudsters are there on marketplace sites online.
Also encouraging people to continue speaking out about their experience through online markets to help spread awareness.
It's a matter of having these open conversations that at the end of the day educate each other, our networks, our friends, our family members, and it protects ourselves from being victimized.
That's what prompted Smith to share his story.
A lot of scam going on, and I just want people to be aware that, cover all your bases and check stuff first before you react.
People are advised to contact their local police or submit a report online to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre to report any financial losses due to online scams. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Well, this week, the First Nation University of Canada was hosting a summit in response to high-risk substance use locally and across Canada. CTV's Mick Fable was there for day 2 and tells us more about the discussion on involuntary addiction treatment.
The Compassionate Intervention Act is now before the legislature in Saskatchewan. Alberta is constructing a similar act, one which will give doctors, police, and families the power to petition the courts to force an adult into involuntary treatment. A team of researchers will soon be looking at the Alberta legislation and its possible outcomes.
What we do know about the data, it's overwhelmingly that there's no real evidence that it's helpful. Of course, there's not a lot of studies because of ethical concerns.
Some of the major concerns include patient safety as well as patient trust in the medical system going forward. The level of deadly drugs on the streets is also a major concern.
It's the toxicity of the drugs itself that we also need to address. So it's not just about treatment, it's also about, are we actually giving people wraparound support so that they're not exposed to the poison supply?
Meeting them where they're at, it's a common belief between the 3 treatment center healing lodges represented on stage. Poundmakers Lodge Treatment Centers, located in Alberta, is using an Indigenous focus on working with those dealing with addictions issues.
It's seeing that person that's suffering and offering empathy, being able to stop and say hello, and then having a conversation with that person so they're feeling valued as a human being.
In 2024, the program jumped to Saskatchewan, opening up a center in the Battlefords and have since expanded.
North Battleford, Swift Current, Yorkton, so it's happening. It's not happening fast enough, but we're doing everything we can and we're definitely proactive.
The Transforming Pain into Power Summit was the first of its kind at the First Nations University of Canada. Mick Fable, CTV News, Regina.
Well, it's a celebration years in the making for the Sturgeon Lake First Nation. Jasmine Pelche tells us about the grand opening of the nation's new childbirth lodge.
This week marks the start of a new chapter for Sturgeon Lake First Nation.
This is an act of self-determination
Sturgeon Lake is asserting jurisdiction over birthing, grounding in our inherent rights and the medicine chest clause to Treaty 6. We expect the Crown, federal and provincial, to honor those promises, to respect our right to exercise that jurisdiction.
Sturgeon Lake First Nation held the official grand opening of the Shirley Bighead Birthing Lodge on Wednesday. Resident midwife Regina Dacha was brought on 3 years ago.
I'm so happy I'm alive on this special day to see this happen, to see this beautiful birth. And then I couldn't really see it, but now I do see it. And I think it's a great honor for this community to allow me to be a helper.
The Birthing Lodge is designed for mothers from Sturgeon Lake and nearby First Nations to give birth in alignment with traditional practice. The lodge is named in memory of Shirley Bighead, a community member who dedicated her time to healthcare in Sturgeon Lake.
We'll keep working with our partners to secure the long-term funding this lodge needs, and we won't stop until the work is properly resourced.
Indigenous Services Canada has contributed more than $20 million to the development of the lodge.
We got some work ahead of us. We have committed to the chief and council to continue that engagement and to continue a way forward to ensure resourcing of this facility is adequate to maintain the facility, right, that going forward.
So far, Indigenous Services Canada has committed to $680,000 of support annually for programs and services. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Sturgeon Lake.
Bus operator Flixbus is adding to its prairie routes. The company is expanding service on a route from Calgary to Regina to include stops in Moose Jaw, Swift Current, Medicine Hat and Lethbridge, along with a stop in Brandon on a new Regina to Winnipeg route. Flixbus said the expansion will allow for better connectivity across the prairies and make Regina a key travel hub. Regina now anchors 3 routes, service to Saskatoon, Edmonton, Calgary and Winnipeg. The new routes will launch on May the 7th. And the 54th annual Saskatchewan Prayer Breakfast was held in Regina this morning. Made me hungry behind me. Public and community leaders came together to share breakfast and hear Bible verses, music, and stories from guest speakers. This year's speakers were former Saskatchewan Rough Rider Derek Moncrief and his wife. The event has been held since 1971. Still ahead, a look at how the federal government's investment in the trades will impact the industry. And Canada approves a cheaper generic version of Ozempic. One of the key promises in yesterday's federal budget update was the nearly $6 billion to be invested in the trades. Adrian Gobriel on what that means to the workforce and who will be impacted.
The sturdiness and strength of the trades in Canada in part begins here.
Insulation, drywall, taping.
The founder and CEO of the Skilled Trades College, Ralph Cherasuolo, believes a large part of the country's future rests in the hands of his graduates.
The ratio of tradesmen that leave the workforce and that enter it is 7 to 1 across North America. So for every 7 that leave, it gets replaced with 1 individual, and that's a compounding problem year over year over year.
BuildForce Canada has estimated a potential labor shortage of 385,000 workers in the construction trades by 2034, with 20% of the current workforce expected to retire over the next decade. Devin Forbes is hoping to be part of the solution. As a student, he has his eye on becoming an HVAC specialist.
A lot of people feel stuck sometimes, and I feel like the trades is the way out.
Though Forbes wouldn't have been able to afford his tuition without receiving a scholarship from the private sector, he believes an influx of federal funding would help students like him achieve Red Seal status in the skilled trades.
The amount of things that I learn every day, that I feel every day when I wake up tomorrow, I know I'm doing better than I did yesterday.
Merci tout le monde. In this week's federal budget, Ottawa announced $5.9 billion over 5 years to recruit, train, and hire upwards of 100,000 new red-sealed skilled trades workers by 2031. Cherasuolo believes the multi-billion-dollar announcement speaks to just how desperate the shortage of trade workers has become. Does nation building happen in Canada without the trades?
Absolutely not. You can't have one without the other.
Those here at the Skilled Trades College also tell us that an important component to filling the labor shortage gap is helping young Canadians understand that this is a highly respected professional career path vital to building Canada's future. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Woodbridge, Ontario.
The families of the shooting victims in Tumbler Ridge, BC are suing OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman reportedly for compensation that's likely more than $1 billion. Lawsuits launched in U.S. federal court allege the company identified the shooter as a credible threat 8 months before the attack but did not warn police. The suit goes on to accuse OpenAI leaders of not alerting police because it would have exposed the volume of violent conversations on the platform and potentially jeopardized the company's path to a nearly $1 trillion initial public offering. 9 people, including the suspect, were killed in the shooting. The Chicago-based law firm says the Tumbler Ridge case is the worst thing the firm has encountered. South Korean defense manufacturer Hanwha is promising to make armored battle vehicles in Canada if it's awarded the lucrative contract to build submarines for the Royal Canadian Navy. Hanwha has signed a partnership with members of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association and build K9 vehicles in Canada to meet international demand. The new range of vehicles would be 100% produced in Canada by Canadian workers and use all Canadian parts. Sources at Hanwha say the venture is totally contingent on the company winning the contract to build the subs for Canada. The Canadian Armed Forces is looking to buy up to 12 submarines to replace its aging fleet. Well, if you're one of the millions of Canadians who takes GLP-1 drugs, kind of like Ozempic or Wegovy for diabetes or weight loss, Canada has just become the first G7 country to approve a low-cost generic version. Jean-Pierre Beauchemin looks at what this will mean for those who use the drug.
Months after Ozempic's patent expired, Health Canada has given a generic the go-ahead. And the approval of India's Dr. Reddy Laboratories' copy has been applauded by many patients and advocates.
And there hasn't been a whole lot of options available.
Obesity Canada's Eaton Patton says for him, semaglutides have been life-changing.
I had this voice in the back of my head always chirping at me, talking about, with that uncontrollable food drive. And having a treatment that allows me to gain control has been very, very impactful.
Like Ozempic, says Health Canada, the generic injection is indicated for the once-weekly treatment of adults with type 2 diabetes. But around 3 million Canadian adults currently take medication like Ozempic for diabetes and obesity. Still, doctors say some patients who would benefit steer clear because of money. The drug costs about $228 a month. Health Canada says many generic medications are 45 to 90% cheaper than the brand versions. And that price could go down with more generics on the market. Health Canada is reviewing 8 other submissions. That could also reduce expenses for provincial and private drug plans deciding to cover the generic. Approval comes after an extensive review of the generic's chemical composition and effects, but does not require manufacturers to do long-term effect studies, for instance, on heart attacks and strokes.
Based on the assumption that if it looks the same, it has the same biochemical properties, it's chemically the same drug, it should have the same long-term effects.
Experts applaud accessibility, but also warn against minimizing potential side effects.
This is a drug. It's not a candy. It's not a supplement. It is a medication.
The generic dosage approved now is for the treatment of diabetes, but advocates are watching to see what other generics will come and what the impact will be on the costs. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Buckingham Palace has responded after U.S. President Donald Trump suggested during last night's state dinner that the king told him he does not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Doing a little Middle East work right now, too, if you might know, and we're doing very well. We have militarily defeated that particular opponent, and we're never going to let that opponent ever, Charles agrees with me, even more than I do, we're never going to let that opponent have a nuclear weapon. They know that, and they've known it right now very powerfully.
The monarch is not a spokesperson for the UK government, and it could not be confirmed that he made the statement to Trump. Today, the palace issued a statement saying the king is naturally mindful of his government's long-standing and well-known position on the prevention of nuclear proliferation. The royal couple are now in New York, where they will begin commemorating the victims of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack. Coming up, a Saskatchewan restaurateur is earning international accolades for his cocktail creations.
Little jump scare for you. All right, let's get right into your weather forecast for what's to come. Now we're starting to see a little bit more sunshine. It was mostly cloudy for the day in the Queen City, sitting at 10 degrees right now, winds just over 25 kilometers an hour. It did warm up to 11 degrees. And the winds, we did see gusting up to close to 40 kilometers an hour throughout the afternoon. And now we're starting to see the wind gusts kind of settle down there. We did see a little bit of scattered showers throughout parts of central and southern Saskatchewan this afternoon. But other than that, it was just cloudier conditions that we were dealing with in many parts of the province, especially in southern Saskatchewan. And as we head into the evening, we'll still see a little bit more of that cloud cover. But heading into tomorrow, we will start out the day, the morning anyway. You can see a lot of clear conditions from Prince Albert all the way down to the southern border there. So mostly sunny conditions expected. However, as we get closer into the late afternoon, we will start to see more of that cloud cover rolling in. So in the evening, a bit more cloudier than what our day would be looking like. Heading into Friday morning, though, southern Saskatchewan expecting to still be quite sunny and clear for most of the day as well. And then proceeding into the weekend as well, we could see sunnier conditions. But by Friday afternoon or Friday evening, we could see a little bit of that scattered precipitation coming through parts of the parkland. You can see around the Saskatoon Wynyard area some green dots, just scattered light showers is what we're expecting, not some big storm. However, we will see a little bit heavier rainfall coming through parts of Yorkton early morning Saturday, but it's not a big system that's going to be leaving big rainfall totals. Along with it, though, we will start the day on Saturday with a little bit of that cloud cover before it clears out, leaving more sunnier conditions for southern Saskatchewan. Good news is these temperatures slowly climbing and getting close to 20 degrees, if not warmer. Lloydminster 21 tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. Prince Albert and La Ronge and La Loche still sitting in the mid-teens tomorrow, but we're also expecting to see cloudier conditions for those areas. And then getting into North Battleford, 19, mostly cloudy, 17 and a mix of sun and cloud for Saskatoon, 12 and a mix of sun and cloud for Yorkton. And in the southwest, again, much warmer than average. 18 degrees for Maple Creek there with a mix of sun and cloud. 16 and a mix of sun and cloud for Swift Current and a mix of sun and cloud for Moose Jaw. 15 degrees. Could see some light rainfall in the overnight tonight. And -3 is a low for the Moose Jaw area. Over in the southeast, same story. 14 degrees for Weyburn and Assiniboia tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. Expecting some light rainfall for Weyburn and Estevan tonight. And those lows a little cooler than what the average low usually is. The average low for the southeast, we're usually looking at about +1, +2. Tonight, -5 for Weyburn, Estevan -3, also for Assiniboia, and then warming up to 13 degrees for Estevan with a mix of sun and cloud. Taking a closer look at Regina tonight, -4, cooler than our average +1, +2 that we're usually used to seeing, and cloud cover continuing to stick around. But as we head into tomorrow, we'll be warming up to 13 degrees. Could see it warm up slightly by another degree or two on top of that 13 there. Mainly sunny conditions, wind sitting at about 30 kilometers an hour. And again, we'll just continue to see the warm up happen as we reach the weekend. So mainly sunny Thursday, 13 degrees by Friday, nothing but sunshine, warming up to an expected daytime high of 21 degrees. By Saturday, mainly sunny, 14 degrees is the expected high. But I do also want to point out that the winds are expected to be picking up then as well. So winds gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour on Saturday, even higher wind gusts or stronger wind gusts expected on Sunday up to 60 kilometers an hour. But we're back into the seasonal range. So Sunday, 16 degrees. By Monday, your first official full week of May, mainly sunny, 15 degrees is the expected high. Tuesday, more clouds rolling in, 12 degrees. And then by Wednesday, we'll see a little bit of a cool down with the temperature dropping to about 8 degrees. But we're still looking at a lot of sunshine expected throughout the next 7 days at least, Lee.
Yeah, so relatively dry conditions after what we've seen the last couple of weeks with that snow.
That's right.
All right, simple enough. That's all I got for you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Sabine. Well, Saskatchewan might have a small culinary scene when it compares to global giants like New York, Paris, but a Saskatoon restaurateur is making international headlines, winning prestigious awards, including one for his brandy. Carla Shinkaruk has the details.
This is our raspberry cordial that we make from the raspberries from my mom's yard.
It's that commitment to local sustainable ingredients that earned Jason Strohan a top 3 finish in a worldwide brandy contest.
So we take that raw product from here in the city and turn it into different cordials and syrups and for the bar to make cocktails with, and chutneys and desserts for St. Tropez to use in the restaurant.
He took over St. Tropez Bistro after working for his parents in every position in the business, and then he and his wife expanded, opening a cocktail bar upstairs.
Now I'm a bartender occasionally, making cocktails, and after a while with that, it was a lot of fun, and I thought I'd enter some competitions. So
the most recent competition earlier this month in Barcelona was the Torres Brandy Zero Challenge. His winning concept, Forgotten Fruit, went up against entries from 11 countries. It won because it goes beyond just using great tasting local ingredients.
So this is really reducing a lot of transportation CO2 emissions and utilizing a great high-quality local product.
And in the summer, they also grow about 30% of their herbs, lettuce, and other produce here on their rooftop garden.
Consumers now are definitely more aware and want to support local. They're more conscious.
The global success has him answering lots of questions about our province in the process.
Saskatoon, do you guys have cocktail bars there? And can you grow fruit? And it's, really, we're not that far north. We do have a fantastic growing season.
For now, Strohan hopes to continue pushing creative boundaries.
All it takes is one cocktail that can change your life. And definitely that, I think, is very apparent with what Jay has accomplished with just entering cocktail competitions.
The couple plans to keep shaking things up and enter more competitions. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, a look back at the riders' selections in the CFL draft and local players that got the call.
Your Morning Minute, presented by Cockwell Group.
Well, farmland real estate markets are ever changing, and thankfully we've got Ted Cockwell to give us a breakdown. Ted, where are land values at in Saskatchewan this spring?
Land values, we've kind of ridden this train up the hill, and now they're sort of plateauing. And the market, we're really in a balanced market right now. It's a little slower than we're used to the past few years, but we still have a good number of buyers, a good number of sellers, and we're just kind of like a status quo right now. Nothing too crazy is going on.
All right, so given that, is this a good time to sell?
It's a great time to sell. We're still getting record-setting prices, or at least the record high prices in most areas. Some areas are falling off a bit, but in most areas, record prices.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much, Ted. You can find your experts in the field at cockwellgroup.com. Your Morning Saskatchewan airs weekdays 6 to 9 on CTV and Crave.
Well, Saskatchewan Roughriders added 8 players to the fold yesterday in the CFL Canadian draft, taking defensive back Malcolm Bell from Michigan State, 9th overall. He was invited to Cleveland Browns rookie mini camp in May, so not going to be with the team for the start of training camp. His other picks, how about Alabama State wideout Delane Jeddah in a second round, 300-pound center Darius Bell in round 3. In the 4th round, they took a Calgary Dino linebacker Osaser Odemwingie, 38th overall. Jex Janvier out of Southern Miss in the 5th round, while Edmonton product Albert Reese the 4th in the 6th. Now, he did sign with the Carolina Panthers as an undrafted free agent. He was supposed to go high, so that's why he dropped that far in the CFL draft. Shamar McBean is a wide receiver out of UBC, and the final pick of the draft was Laurier University Hawk fullback Ryan Speet, going 74th overall.
I don't think so. I think every draft is different in its own sense. You go in with different needs and wants and what you're trying to accomplish. And every year you lose free agents, or you move on, or they retire. And so I think it changes with every year. And see, some years we took receivers in the beginning, and sometimes we take DBs, sometimes we take O linemen. But we try to really try to prepare for the future, create some depth for our team, and I think that's a big part of it.
Few Saskatchewan players heard their names last night, including Regina's Charlie Parks, who plays defensive tackle for the U of S Huskies. He was selected by Ottawa, 31st overall. Parks led the Canada West last year in quarterback sacks with 5. Meanwhile, Regina's Ethan Graham, he's an offensive lineman for the U of R Rams, went 54th overall to BC. And Huskies O-lineman Jack Warrack went 71st overall to Calgary. Meanwhile, in today's global draft, the Riders selected linebacker Mapalo Mwansa from England and kicker Kanzi Matsuzawa from Japan. He played with the University of Miami last year. The Riders already have 4 global players on their roster, 2 of them punters. WHL playoffs, Medicine Tigers have taken the lead in the East Conference Final.
The slot, shoots, saves Switzer, rebound, put wide by Korkish. In the high slot, turns, shoots, it's loose, they score!
Liam Ruck scored in overtime as the Tabbies edged the Prince Albert Raiders 2-1 last night, taking a 2-1 series lead. Daxon Rudolph scored the lone goal for Prince Albert. Tigers goaltender Jordan Schweitzer turning aside the other 37 shots he faced. Game 4 goes tonight, 7 o'clock. And golfers rejoice after a long winter. Most of Regina's city-run golf courses reopen on Friday. The Murray, Tor Hill, and Joanne Goulet golf courses will open things up on Friday. Lakeview Par 3, they're going to wait a little later. They'll open on May the 8th. And driving ranges, they're already open. Still ahead, a $2 million donation towards Sask Polytech's new campus in Saskatoon.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow, and we're looking at a lot of nice temperatures. Some areas still fighting some of the cloud cover before the sun really shows up. Areas like Melfort, Spiritwood, Hudson Bay seeing mostly cloudy conditions, but we're actually looking at within seasonal, if not warmer than seasonal temperatures. Spiritwood, Watrous, outlook 17 degrees, 12 degrees for Wynyard, 13 for Hudson Bay, 14 for Melfort, 18 in a mix of sun and cloud for Meadow Lake and for Kindersley, and Lloydminster, a mix of sun and cloud and 21 degrees. Closer to the southern border, temperatures still within that same range right along the east there. 12 degrees, Kenora, Broadview, Carlisle over in the southwest, 18 for Maple Creek, 16 for East End Cypress, and Leader also sitting at 19 degrees. Rosetown seeing a mix of sun and cloud and 18 degrees as well. Lumsden, Pilot Butte, Rockland 13 degrees, and Assiniboia, Cornack 14 degrees. And a closer look at Edam, about 200 kilometers northwest of Saskatoon, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. Tomorrow expecting mainly sunny conditions for Edam. +9 is the expected high, and not bad for winds, anywhere between 5 to 10 kilometers an hour.
And some breaking news. Billionaire Sean Semple and Brandt's bid to purchase large portions of Regina's Real District campus has cleared a major hurdle. The city's executive committee has now approved the plan. The proposed $6.5 million deal will be debated and voted on by City Council on May the 6th. The vote, by the way, at Executive Council was 7-4. Saskatchewan Polytechnic is partnering with Ontario Tech University to deliver a new nuclear career accelerator program in Western Canada. The course is an 11-week online program that will help mid-career engineers and technical professionals who are looking to advance within the nuclear sector. It aims to give foundation training in nuclear systems, safety and regulatory frameworks through applied industry learning. Under the new agreement, SaskPoly would administer the program for Saskatchewan, BC, Alberta, and Manitoba. SaskPoly says this program is answering a call from various levels of government, and that it's another step towards building the Western Canadian Nuclear Training Centre, which will increase the nuclear workforce through additional training opportunities. Another boost today for Saskatchewan Polytechnic's new Saskatoon campus. The school's Students Association announcing a $2 million donation to go towards the new Joseph A. Remy campus. The donation marks one of the largest student-led contributions for infrastructure in its history. The money going towards the Time to Raise campaign and will help to pay for the design and construction of student-centered spaces. The new campus will be built at Innovation Saskatchewan on a U of S campus. Farm markets for you. Let's take a look at the canola. Street price up $4.10 to $699.93 per ton, with a futures price up $12.40. It's had a good jump. It's up to $756.40 per ton. Amber durum wheat, $278.59 per ton. Red spring wheat has gone down $1.06 to $301.21 per ton. Feed barley, $250.88 per ton, and flax is $630.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunkie and Ice Futures Canada. Stock markets both going down, and TSX dropped by 265 points, Dow Jones by 280. As for the Canadian dollar, went up very slightly, 0.02 of a cent to 73.08 cents US. Commodity gold, it is up $1.50. West Texas Intermediate crude is up $6.95, so above the $105 mark per barrel. And Western Canadian Select crude up $3.03. So now, some places are still at $1.69.9 per liter, but as you saw earlier in the newscast, we're starting to see the move now to $1.89.9 cents per liter gas in Saskatchewan.
These are the companies investing billions of dollars into artificial intelligence. Their earnings, an indication of whether those investments are paying off. Meta reported it is once again raising the amount it will spend on its AI build-out this year. The social media company projects it'll spend between $125 and $145 billion US. It is paying more for components than its competitors since it is late to the AI race. Investors did not like the news, sending the stock down in after-hours trading. Amazon beat revenue estimates, reporting it brought in over $181 billion in its latest quarter. And revenue for its key web services unit is up 28% year over year. But the tech company is also spending big on AI with a $200 billion budget for 2026, and investors have concerns about that. Only Alphabet shares were gaining traction late in the day. Its cloud computing unit is doing well, with first quarter revenue for Google's parent company coming in at about $95 billion. It plans to spend about $185 billion US on its AI plan. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up, MasterChef, followed by The Floor for an hour, then Shark Tank, Big Bang Theory, just one. Way to go, Sabine. E-Talk, and you'll have your national news and local news at 11:30. All right, these dogs, you could say, are total ballers.
Yeah, that's right. Adidas, or Adidas, has launched a new collection of pet shirts ahead of the FIFA World Cup. The lineup includes home shirts for Mexico, Colombia, Japan, and Argentina. The pet-sized shirts match what the national teams will wear on the field, so they can also bark on their countries this summer. The collection will be available starting Friday. Are you going to get one for...
Well, here's the thing. So they don't have Canada, they don't have England because Nike makes their shirts, so that's not going to be the case. I thought Germany would be one of the teams too, because Adidas, Adidas makes Germany's uniform, but here we are.
Oh, well, we'll just wait and see what Lee purchases for his pup. An image of a seabird having a rough day is a People's Choice winner in the Nikon Comedy Wildlife Awards. Oh, comedy. Oh, no.
Photographer Allison Tuck titled it, "Which Direction is My Nest? Winds a blowing." She captured the shot during a windy day at the Pempton Cliffs in Yorkshire, England. It easily snagged the top award out of 41 submissions. Other entries included a squirrel having a bit of a bad hair day and a hornbill in a bit of a hurry. The awards have been around since 2015. The 2026 competition is underway now and is accepting entries through June. Looks like us in a newsroom.
I want to see more.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of the shots they get.
Yeah, it's all timing though. I'm sure.
We're done.
Okay, bye.
Timing.